Welcome to this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn how to recognize or define genitive absolute participle constructions. Our text for this lesson comes out of the book of Matthew. Matthew 9 verse 18a reads, Tafta aftu laluntos. Aftis idho his archon althon prasukini afto. Translation: while he was saying these things to them, behold, one ruler or a certain ruler came and bowed down before him. Let us now learn how to recognize a genitive absolute participle construction. These types of constructions can be defined in two ways. It can either be defined semantically or it can be defined structurally. For the purpose of learning, I want us to look at both options, because if you are able to identify the construction, you will be able to understand its semantic force. Let's first consider what it looks like structurally. Structurally, a genitive absolute participle construction will have the following three things. It will usually have a noun or a pronoun in the genitive case, as in this case we have the genitive of to. And then secondly, it will always have an unauthorized participle in the genitive, as we have here, laluntos. And then thirdly, the entire genitive construction at the front of the sentence will usually be, or there will, let me rephrase what I just said. There will usually be an entire construction at the front of the sentence. Semantically, there are also three things to take note of. The first of is that the genitive absolute construction is unconnected to the rest of the sentence, and it has its own subject. In this case, we can see that aftu here is the subject of laluntos, whereas we have a different subject for the main verb, pras ekuni. And then secondly, the participle in a genitive absolute construction will always be adverbial. It will never be substantival or adjectival. It can only be adverbial. This is always the case. And then thirdly, the participle, as it is in this case, is usually temporal. The action described by laluntos in our sentence here is contemporaneous in time to that of the main verb, and that is brought out in translation with an added while he was speaking or while he was saying these things. This was a mouthful, but I hope that it helps you to recognize genitive absolute constructions. This is all new to you, so let's recap. We have learned that genitive absolute participle constructions can be defined in two ways. It can either be defined semantically or it can be defined structurally. Structurally, it will usually consist of the following three things. A noun or pronoun in the genitive case, that's not always. A genitive and aorist participle, that's always the case. And an entire construction at the front of the sentence. That is usually so, but not always. And then semantically, these constructions will usually also consist of the following three things. Firstly, a genitive noun or pronoun, which will be the subject of the participle, and that subject will be different from the main subject. That's not always the case though. And then secondly, the unauthorized participle that we spoke about structurally will always be adverbial, and that participle will also usually be temporal. Not always though.